Joining us now here in the firing room at the Public Affairs Console is Robbie Ashley. He was the STS-117 Payload Mission Manager here at the Kennedy Space Center and had much to do with preparing these trusses for flight. Robbie, welcome. And these segments have been here for a while. How far back does preparations for this flight go?
And that's right, George. These elements actually showed up in December of 2000 for the S3 element, and January 2001, a month later, for the S4 element. So it's been a little over 6 years since they've been here, and we've had a lot of folks working on them over that time frame.
Well, we'll go ahead and roll some tape now, and perhaps you can give us some idea of some of the activities that we're seeing that have prepared these truss segments for launch.
Okay, I'd be glad to. This is NASA's Super Guppy heavy lift cargo aircraft landing at the Shuttle landing facility, and this is back in December of 2000. It's bringing the S3 element from Tulsa, Oklahoma, where it was the primary structure was manufactured out there at the Boeing facility in Tulsa. And as you can see, they've opened the entire nose cone of the Guppy aircraft opens up to get access to the cargo bay, and now they're extracting the S3 element inside its shipping fixture from the cargo bay hull and transporting it over to our payload processing facility. It's not shown on the video, but the S4 element, as I mentioned, arrived a month later, and it actually made the trip across country from Tulsa over the road on a special truck. And this is actually 3 years later, in 2004, after we've had initially completed work on the S3 and S4 elements. And this is the traditional key ceremony that we have in Space Station, signifying the transfer of ownership of the hardware from the Boeing company to the government. And this is Chuck Hardison, the senior manager for flight element processing here for the Boeing company, presenting the key to that is Scott Gehring, who was leading up the vehicle office for the space station program at the time. And here's part of our larger team that worked on the S3 and S4 elements, getting them ready. And here we are jumping forward again. This is in September of 2006. We had just completed replacement of the 6 batteries on the lower deck of the S4 element, and we're bringing the integrated element back over to its normal processing stand following that battery change out. And once over there, we will complete all of our final testing that we need to do, that we had to do as a result of changing out those batteries, and then prepare the element for launch. And this is actually a shot out at the launch pad, as you can see, of the rotating service structure at Pad A. And this is their first retraction of the rotating service structure since January of 2003, excuse me. So they'd had quite a lot of work going on in the four years. And this is in January 2007, retracting in preparation for payload delivery to the pad. And here we are back in the space station processing facility, preparing the S3, S4 element for transfer out to the launch pad. Lifting it out of its work stand, and it's on its way to the opposite end of the building, where we will install it in the payload transportation canister for the trip to the pad. This is a good shot of the forward bulkhead of the S3 bulkhead that will attach to S1 on orbit. And now, as you can see, we're approaching the payload canister for that installation. And lowering the cargo element into the payload canister. And that's a close-up shot of the Solar Alpha rotary joint there, blanketed That's the joint that rotates the solar arrays outboard for tracking with the sun. And here we are over at the canister rotation facility. We've been rotated to vertical in the payload canister, and we're on our way out to the launch pad. This is February 12th of this year. There's a beautiful shot of the canister as it passes the vehicle assembly building in the early morning hours of February 12th. And I love this view here with the launch pad lit up in the early morning hours. And this is a payload canister being hoisted up from the base of the pad to the payload changeout room at the 135-foot level of the rotating surface structure. And now we're inside the payload changeout room and opening the payload canister doors in preparation for extracting the S3, S4 element and putting it into the payload changeout room. And I don't believe we have it on this video, but the shot that you're seeing here looks very much like the S3, S4 in the orbiter's payload bay. Those doors that you see there are very similar to the payload bay doors for the orbiter. That's a close-up shot of one of the solar array wings, the two blanket boxes that you see there in the mast canister. And this is the top half of the S3 element with the solar alpha rotary joint. And now we're seeing the payload ground handling mechanism being brought forward to extract the S3, S4 element out of the payload canister. And that has occurred now, and the payload canister door is closed.
Robbie, what's the significance of the payloads for this mission in terms of where it fits into the assembly sequence? In other words, why are we doing this now compared to what's coming?
Right. Well, the S3, S4 element is very much like the P3, P4 that we launched back in September of last year. Its primary purpose is that it provides power for the station. Significant of the S3, S4 element is that it will be providing the power necessary to continue the assembly of station and specifically starting the addition of the international partner elements, the Columbus module and the Japanese experiment modules. So it's significant in that it will be providing the power for those elements.
Well, Robbie, thank you very much, and I'm sure your team is excited. Have you any estimate about how many folks have worked over this over time or are on your team?
You know, I don't have a good number. I know it's in the thousands. If you consider, going back to all the way back to the plants where the hardware was initially manufactured, and then the team here, we've had a large number of folks that have worked on it. Some have gone on to other things. It's been, as I mentioned earlier, it's been over 6 years, but a lot of folks are looking out at the launch pad today with excitement that S3, S4 is now on the verge of being launched and headed to the space station.
Well, Robbie, thanks very much, and best of luck for tonight.